ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So we were studying the vibhutis, the special manifestations of the divine, as has been enunciated by Bhagavan Krishna in the 10th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. In the last class, the very first verse from which this enunciation starts, this description starts, that's the verse we took up. There was the 20th verse of the 10th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. So what's the verse? Aham Atma Gurakesha Sarva Bhuta Shayasthitah Aham Adischa Madhyamcha Bhutanam Anta Evacha. Aham Atma Sarva Bhuta Shaya Asthita. That I am the indwelling self residing in the heart of all beings. Sarva Bhuta Shaya Sthita. Ashaya means the residence. Where is the residence? Bhuta. All who have been born, all the beings. So he is in the heart of all the beings. And here, that in the last class we indicated that here in this verse, throughout Bhagavad Gita we will find Sri Krishna addresses Arjuna by various names. So here he is addressing him as Gurakesha. And literally it means the one who has conquered sleep. But as such we know that to conquer sleep as such doesn't signify anything spiritually. So here what actually the spiritual significance of the word Gurakesha is, that as we were discussing in the last class, that to conquer the tamas. Tamas means that we speak in our scriptures of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. The sattva speaks of serenity, calmness, wisdom. These are the characteristics which signify sattva. Rajas speaks of ambition, activity. And tamas speaks of something destructive. It speaks of laziness, lack of proper understanding, delusion, and of course lethargy, sleep. All this comes under tamas. So here tamas means that lack of awareness leading to delusional outlook. So in your life we will find that when we are deluded, our understanding is in no way going to build up our life in a very constructive manner. It becomes very destructive. So in English we know that there is a very nice proverb. What it says? That the vigilance is the price of purity. The price of purity is vigilance. The more vigilant we are, the more aware we are, the more vigilant about our own mind we are, that how much mindful I am at each and every moment of my life, that speaks of the purity. The nature of the mind is to vacillate. I cannot stop it. But am I aware of all its vacillations? If I am aware, then what happens? Then I can take care of the vacillations of the mind in a very, very calm, restrained way. If I'm not aware, then they suddenly overpower me. That all the thoughts, they are in our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is just like the bottom of a lake. If the surface of the lake is the consciousness, if I speaks of the conscious mind, the bottom of the lake speaks of the subconscious mind. And from the subconscious mind, constantly like bubbles, these samskaras, the latent impressions, are rising. And we are not aware of them because we are aware only of the surface of the lake called mind. Chittarada, the lake called mind, I am just aware of its surface. So when when a bubble comes and bursts in the surface, then I am aware. But when it is rising from the bottom, I am not aware of it. So here in spiritual life, they speak of this, that when the bubble has started arising, be mindful about it. Then what happens? When it comes to the surface, it bursts. You are at your guard. That thought cannot overpower you. It cannot make you your slave. You become the master of your mind. You need not be the slave of your mind. And that speaks of that alertness, as we were giving a lot of examples in the last class. So we need not go to that. But in Gurakesha here, spiritually means this. That in spiritual life, this is the very first criteria. That we have to be very mindful about our mind. Constantly have to watch our mind so that it doesn't deceive us. And Arjuna was of such characteristic. He had already built that strength of character where he was vigilant about his own mind, the working of his own mind. And that's why Sri Krishna feels that the spiritual, he is the adept person to receive the spiritual instruction. So we will find that all these terms has been used in proper places to signify something. So after addressing him Gurakesha, what he's saying? That as you have asked to describe all the vibhutis, the manifestations, the very first manifestation is the self. We all, from our birth till our death, we are aware of our own self. Even a small child, if you ask, who are you? His finger will point towards his heart, as if the center of consciousness is the heart, where we feel that speaks of our locality. And here the Lord is saying, my first manifestation is there. It's in the heart of each and every being. Sri Ramakrishna has a very nice way of describing it. He says the Lord is, we say in our scripture, in all the religious tradition we have this idea. What's that idea? That the ultimate reality, the God, the Lord of the universe, He is both immanent and transcendent. He transcends this creation, but at the same time He is immanent. What immanent means? He is pervading. He is not something apart from the universe. He is manifesting Himself as the universe. He is pervading the universe. He is immanent, is transcendent as well as immanent. So He is all pervading. Sri Ramakrishna says He is all pervading. Now when you say He is in our heart, isn't it a contradiction? The one who is non-local, all pervading, and now here you are indicating He is as if localized in our heart. What actually it means? It actually means, in the words of Sri Ramakrishna, very nicely he says, that the heart is a devotee's, the God's living space. The living room is the devotee's heart. The simple words. What it means? That in your own house, you are all pervading. You have the access to each and every nook and corner of your own house, as if you can pervade your entire house. But when some guest comes, where do you meet him? It's in the living room, isn't it? The living room is the space where I meet my guests. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying the living room of God is the devotee's heart. He's all pervading. The entire creation He's pervading. But He meets His devotees where He's felt in the heart of each and every being. That it's there where you can have communion with Him. So that's why that though He is all pervading, but He is localized in the heart where we feel Him. Just a simple example, light is all pervading, but to perceive that light, it has to be localized by the eyes. Sound is everywhere, but it has to perceive it, it has to be localized by the ears. So yes, I hear the sound. So similarly, the self is everywhere, but I can feel Him in our heart. So that's why here the Lord is saying that I am in the heart of each and every being. O Gurhakesha, aham adischa madhyam cha bhutanam anta evacha. That I am the beginning, the middle and the end of the entire existence. So the beginning, the middle and indeed the end of all beings. So He is that principle, as we were saying in the last class, which is not changing. That in our life we go through all the changes. I was a child, I became a young person, I am a middle-aged man, and then we will grow old. Through all these phases, I never feel that the sense of identity has changed. It is the same me who was child. It is the same me who is a young man. It is the same me who is a middle-aged person. So that I is not changing. Through all the phases of change, that is like an eternal present, always there in my heart. And that's the manifestation of the Lord within us. So before we go out, move out through our senses to the world, the very first thing when I wake up of what I am aware of myself. So that's why Lord starts with that. Well, you have asked for the vibhuti in the entire creation. But when you are awake, the first thing when I get up in the morning, even before I have opened my eyes, I am awake. The first thing I am aware of myself. And here the Lord is saying that is the best manifestation of me. The moment you feel your own identity, no, it is I who am expressing through you. So that way He indicates the sacredness of each and every being. That each and every being is sacred, is divine. In the words of Ramakrishna, that Jiva is Shiva. Each and every being is the Shiva, the Lord, in essence. Outwardly he is looking like just a mortal being, but in essence he is that spiritual, the spiritual dimension of our existence is the essence of our being. And that's being indicated in this verse, which we were studying in the last class. So now let's proceed. So now these verses which we will be going through won't need much spiritual explanation. So we will try to go through them as quickly as possible. But still, wherever we find some references are required, some descriptions are required, because there are a lot of stories in our mythologies, in the Puranas, to which we have to resort to while going through these verses. So wherever it is required, we will just refer to that, and then so that these verses become very clear what the Lord is saying, and then we proceed to the subsequent verses one by one. So the 21st verse, what it is saying? Adityanam ahang Vishnu Jyotishang Ravi Angshuman Marichir Marutam Asmi Nakshatranam Aham Shashi. The Adityanam. So among the Adityas, we'll come to the explanation. Among the Adityas, I am the Vishnu. Among the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Jyotishang Ravi Angshuman. Among all the luminous body, I am the radiant sun. Jyoti Angshuman. Angshuman is this. Angshu speaks of light. Man means one who has the light. And who has the light? the Ravi, the sun. So I am that radiant sun among all the luminous things. Marichir Marutam Asmi. Among the the Maruts. So what does Maruts mean? We will just come to the discussion. Among all the Maruts, I am the Marichi. And then among the stars. Now here we find that moon is also considered as a star. Because in the night sky, whatever is there, whatever is illuminating, is considered as star. So among them, the moon is the most illuminating one, celestial body which we find at night. So here they are saying that I am among the stars, I am the moon. So now, as I said, that there are some reference to all those mythological lot of narrations. So here, unless we understand that, we won't understand. Like among the Adityas, I am Vishnu. What actually it means? So in our scriptures, they speak that there was a sage called Kashyap Muni, and he had two wives. One is Aditi and other is Diti. Kashyap's his elder wife was Aditi and the younger wife was Diti. Now Aditi's children, he had 12 children. The children, the son of Aditi, are called Adityas. So they are the luminous ones, the Devatas, the Adityas. These Adityas, among these Adityas, there are 12 such Adityas. We need not go through all those names. And those names are not very consistent too, because in various Puranas we will find the variation as per the names are concerned. It's not the same name mentioned everywhere. So there are 12 such Adityas, but one name is common in all the variations, and that is the Vamana Avatara. Vamana is one of the Aditya. You have heard of that in our scriptures they speak of these incarnations, the 10 incarnations. Of them, Vamana is one of the incarnation. The dwarf one, the Lord incarnated as a dwarf being. We know that story that one of the kings, Asuras, he wanted to be the most famous person in the entire existence. And as per his deeds are concerned, he wanted to excel even the Lord of the Devas, the Indra. His name was Bali. And this Bali is one of the big characters. It was a good thing that he was Data, he was a giver. Whoever asks him anything, he will just simply give. That's the vow he has taken. But behind that, there was a pride that it's not just out of compassion, out of that unbound, out of this heart's love he is giving. He wants to be famous. He wants to be the most prominent being in the entire existence. Even among the Devas, he wants to be the most prominent. So it was out of ego, out of pride, that he was actually giving things. So there was a sense of this pride behind, ego, behind his dana, whatever he was giving. And the Lord wanted to humble him. And that's how he came as the Vamana Avatara, as a dwarf. When he came to the King Vali, and the King Vali was ready to give whatever he was asked for. He said, ask for anything and I will give it to you. And he asked for only the 3 steps that he will just walk 3 steps, and whatever land is covered in the 3 steps, only that much land he wants. So it appears to be something very insignificant. Though Vali sensed that actually most probably it is the Lord in disguise has came, but as he has taken the vow that he will grant the whatever he's been asked for, he will grant. So he accepts that. Yes, okay. And then we find that the Lord, as the Vamana, what he is doing, he covers with 1 foot this entire world, with another feet the heavens, and then he asks Bali, where I keep my third feet? With my 2 feet I have covered everything. Where I keep my third feet? And the Bali was humbled and he said, on my head. That's how. And when he puts his head, he was actually thirsted down to the world of this Patala, the nether worlds. And thus he was humble. Thus the story goes. So what actually is the spiritual significance? That whatever we see in this universe is entirely covered by the Lord. Not only that, whatever is not seen, even beyond that, that also is covered by the Lord. Means whatever our senses perceive, that's not everything. Even beyond that, there are so many things. Just to give an example, when I keep a prism in front of the white light, it breaks into the spectrum of 7 colors. I say the light has 7 spectrum. But is it true? No. Our eyes can perceive the 7 spectrum, but there are light even beyond the violet. That's why we say ultraviolet light. It's extremely intense. We cannot see it. It burns our skin. When we are out in the sun, that all the sunscreen we use is because of that ultraviolet light. What the light which we are seeing, that's not that harmful. The light which we cannot see, it carries that intense heat which burns our skin, which is the cause of the cancer. That ultraviolet light is not visible. It's beyond our vision. And again, infrared light is not visible. At night, if you go to the zoo, you will find where these nocturnal animals are kept. It's a very dark place. And inside all the glass coverings where these animals are there is a feeble red light. Why that red light? Because that is the only common light which is, as per our vision is concerned, that is the only common band which is visible both to the nocturnal animals as well as us. So that's why they keep that red light. So that gives the visibility of the nocturnal animals. That's why they will come out. Otherwise for them, if it is dazzling light, it is dark for them. Only in that mild red light they will come out and we can see them. That's the purpose in the zoo, that we should see those animals. And even if it is totally dark, very interesting, those nocturnal animals still can see, because there are some frequencies of light below red which we cannot see. They can see. But again, the purpose won't be served, because for us it will be all dark. Though they will be outside, we cannot see them. So what it says, that there are certain bands of light which is not visible to us, but they are there. So similarly, the Lord, when he is just like the white light passing through this prism, breaks into the spectrum of this, 7 colors, and also spectrum which is beyond both the end, beyond violet, beyond red. Similarly, whatever I see this as the creation is not the be-all and end-all of existence. Even in science they say that this term is that you have all heard, dark matter. That what we see is just 1/3. Very interesting. 2/3 are dark matter. Only 1/3 is this visible universe, is just 1/3. The dark matter constitutes the 2/3 of that reality. The same thing has been spoken of in the Upanishad, that the Lord is covering this, this universe with his parts. And there are some of his parts which is even beyond this visible universe. The same term. So here also we find that as Vamanadev, what is signifying, that's why he's called Urukrama. Urukrama means who is putting step one after the other. Why this Urukrama has been used here? Just to indicate that he is pervading entire universe, both the seen as well as the unseen. So as Vaman Avatara, he just incarnated himself to give a special message to the humankind. That don't think that it is you who are the Karta, you are the doer. Only the Lord alone is the doer. He is the one who is, this pervading the entire universe, and it is he who is the doer, not you. So, as his special manifestation in Vaman Avatara was one of those, Adityas. Now, who is Vamana? He is one of the incarnations of Vishnu. Dashavatara are the incarnations of Vishnu. So, as Vamana, he is one of the incarnations of Vishnu. And again, he is the child of Aditi. So, that's why this is the best, most prominent manifestation among the Adityas. This as Vamana, and who is the avatar of Vishnu. And that's why here it has been mentioned that among the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Means avatar of Vishnu. As Vamana, he is one of the Adityas. So now we will have an idea what is the reference here when it has been mentioned that among all the Adityas, he is Vishnu. And again, very interesting, the word Vishnu itself means all pervading. This Vishnu is just not a person. All these terms, like Shiva means Mangalmoy, means he is that's benevolent, the benevolent one. All the benevolence which we see in the universe, that speaks of Shiva. So whenever you will be on some endeavor, you will find that someone will be blessing you by saying Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. It's not that just the Lord is being invoked here. By the Shiva means let everything be benevolent, let everything be good. Similarly, Vishnu means all pervading. So in Vamana Avatar, that's the thing. He has shown his all pervasive nature by putting 3 steps in this, both the worlds, and 1 step even which is beyond this. So that's again indicates that he is something all pervading. So and then this need not be explained that among all the luminous objects, he is the sun. So among lights, I am the radiant sun, which is the source of all light, source of all life, which is the regulator of time, seasons. So without sun, we cannot think of any existence in this so-called in the solar system, in the planet Earth. Life is not possible without sun. So among all the radiant things, luminous things, he is the radiant sun. And then he comes to the next, Marichir Marutam Asmi. So I am Marichi among all the Maruts. So again, we have to refer to this is the Puranas. So here again, the same, the Kashyap Muni's 2 wives we were speaking of, Aditi and Diti. The second wife, the Diti, the story goes that the sons of Ditis, they are actually the Daityas, the Asuras. In our scriptures, these are very, in all the traditions, it's a very interesting thing that as a human being, what's the special, one of the characteristic uniqueness we have? That all creatures do have their instinctual impulses. But as a human being, we have a uniqueness. We have the capacity to regulate our impulses with our willpower. Our resolutions, our will. Everywhere you will find. That's what we as a human do. No other creature can do that. We do. That yes, I am a politician. I want to, serve the nation and to be in the power. But you will find that when, after the election, when you have been elected, now you will be most probably appointed as a minister or even as a member of parliament or member of just legislative assembly, whatever it may be, lower house, upper house, whatever it may be. First, there is an oath taking ceremony. You'll find it is there everywhere throughout the world. In sports, when the 2 teams are going to play, first they will shake hands and there's a resolution that let us be friendly. In Olympics, everywhere you will find. A doctor, the moment he has completed his course, first he has to take the Hippocratic this oath that his passion for his profession has to be guided by certain principles. our marriage in society, they're also the same thing in all the tradition, that you will find that wedding is a ceremony. Why not two persons just decide and start staying together? Of course, nowadays that's the norm of the society, but why that elaborate weddings were there, and even it's still there? Because the husband and the wife, before entering the life, consummating their marriage to have children and all, before that, they have to regulate their impulses with some resolutions, some oaths. And oaths can never be taken alone, because there is no witness that I can take a promise, I can break it tomorrow. Where is the witness? Who is the witness of my oath? So that's why you will find wherever there is an oath taking, it's as a celebration. When I have to take oath, I have to invite others. There will be so many witnesses, and that gives the strength to my oath. Otherwise, my resolution has no meaning. So you'll find in all the traditions it is there, that we are taking oath. So why we are saying all these things? This Kashyap's two wives, Aditya was the Aditi was the one who was very integrated person. But Diti was the one who was impulsive. As Sri Ramakrishna speaks of that, there's two types of wives. Some are of Vidya, some are Avidya. So here also we find Aditi was a manifestation of Vidya. She was a one who was always regulating her life as per the resolves. The impulses will be there, that it has to be controlled by that resolve, so that instead of destroying the impulses, instead of destroying us, it can build up our life. But Diti was a bit impulsive. And because of her impulsive nature, her children, this recently, even this with AI generated movie became very famous. It was the life of our Prahlada, this Hiranyakashipu's son Prahlada, this Nrisimha avatar. It came. I went to see. Someone said Maharaj is very nice. I went. Yeah, I liked it. So there also it starts with that, the story of Diti, the one who is a bit impulsive. Because of her impulsive nature, as she never cared for all the principles, the resolutions, I will not go to the descriptions. Her children were of that asuric nature, demonic nature. But later, she repented for this type of her nature, and she wanted to have a child of integrated personality. And then she, through her tapas, her sacrifice, her this austerity, did get a child who excelled all the beings, and his name is Marichi. He's a very powerful, Marichi is a very powerful son of Diti. So this baby was in her womb. Then Indra, that Indra when came to know that yes, a child is to be born who is going to be even more powerful than Indra. So even the gods are jealous. The gods. So Indra actually threw his weapon, the thunderbolt, to destroy the fetus of this Diti, who was holding the child. And that fetus was divided into 49 parts, they say. So these are the stories we find in the Puranas. And these 49 parts, instead of dying, they all became extremely powerful sources of energy. Like they're the powerhouses in the form of this, the prana, the vitality. So all these 49 vitalities, they are called the maruts. Maruts. Prana, Vayu. And you will find Vayu is called marut. So these 49 maruts were very powerful. Among them, the most powerful one is this Marichi. So Marichi is the one, he's also called Parivaha. The chief wind among them is called Parivaha, and his another name is Marichi. So this is the most prominent one, who actually was there too, with the power to do good to the world. So power is such a thing, energy is such a thing. With that you can destroy, and with that you can use it for, if you're using it in a proper way, it can be used for some generation of power. Just like the nuclear power. It destroys everything. But with that we can again generate electricity, we can generate all the energies which proves to be very productive. So how you are using. So here also the question of balancing comes. See, when you have uncontrolled fission, then that speaks of explosion, and then we have it destroys everything. But when you are controlling that fission in a nuclear chamber, it is in a very controlled way you are doing, the same energy becomes constructive. So here also the same thing. When Diti, because of her impulsive nature, had children, they were all Daityas. But the same Diti, when she took a resolution and was controlling her impulses with the resolution, then we find that she has something in her womb which is so powerful that even the Lord of all the gods, the chief among all the gods, the Indra, is terrified, trying to destroy, but they cannot destroy the good force. It actually finds expression as 49 Maruts, and of that the chief one is the Marichi. And God, as he said, that by wherever you find the best manifestation, no, I am palpably as if visible through that form. So I, among all the Marichis, among all the Maruts, I am the Marichi. So these are the stories behind all these simple words. Otherwise, you will just, if I don't give an explanation, you won't know what actually it means. And then Nakshatranam Shashi. This again is easy. You will understand. In the night sky, among all the illumined objects, the moon is the most bright one, and the Lord is saying, I am the moon among all the illumined objects in the night sky. I am the moon among the stars. So you will find that moon also has a great role to play in the earth's existence, especially on the full moon night. If you are by the side of the ocean, you will find that how the gravitational pull affects the earth. You will have the waves will be huge. The waves will be huge because of the gravitational pull. Not only that, very interesting, in our scriptures, moon has been related to our psyche, and it's a fact. Even if you go to, even in the present day, if you go to the psychiatrist, they will tell you that with the phases of the moon, the moods, especially those who have some psychic issues, the moods varies very much. The moon's gravitational pull has a role to play even with our the psychological well-being. Not only psychological well-being, that we will be observing this Ekadashi, the 11th day phase of the moon, that there will be restrictions in our food. Many will be fasting. Why? That again, they find that the rasas, all the fluids of the body, so they became more inflamed in the time, in certain phases of the moon, especially on Ekadashi, that's the time. The body has a more tendency for inflammation, and that's why there was a prescription for this fasting. So why we are saying that this all speaks of among all the other stars, what's their effect on us? This almost negligible. We find there's as such no such effect on us directly. But here the moon has a role to play in, not only just as far our the geography is concerned, not for as the waves of the oceans are concerned, even as for psyche, for physical health, the moon has a great role to play. So among all these celestial bodies in the night sky, I am the moon. So that's what Nakshatranam Aham Shashi. So this is the thing which is being describing in this 22nd verse. And then, 21st verse. In the 22nd verse, what is saying? Vedanam Sama Vedosmi Devanam Asmi Vasavaha Indriyanam Manaschasmi Bhutanam Asmi Chetana. the Vedanam, among all the Vedas. There are 4 Vedas, Rik, Sham, Yaju, Sama Veda. So here he is saying, among all the Vedas, I am the Sama Veda. So you will find even in the Vedas, gradually the Vedas are evolving. In the Sama Veda you will find it's not only the meaning of the mantras are very powerful, but you will find they have to be sung. Because this notion of this kala as music, that has developed from the Sama Veda. It's a beautiful, there's all these mantras have to be sung, chanted. There's beautiful intonations. So it's full of music, rhythm, melody. It's the most enchanting among all the Vedas. That's why the Lord is saying, among all the Vedas, I am the Sama Veda. Devanam asmi Vasava. This Indra, among all the gods. Gods means these are all the manifestations of the forces of nature. Vayu Devata is this, this Varuna is the Vayu Devata. Indra is the god of the rains. So this Indra is the most powerful personification of all the forces of nature. Why? Because here also that being the god of the rain, without rain, we can just think, we cannot think of any vegetation. We cannot think of our sustenance as far as food is concerned. So this Indra, among all the gods, is the most prominent god. And he is also thought of as having the most highest fame, power, rank, from all the aspects. He is the king of the Devas. So among all the Devas, Krishna is saying, I am the Indra. Indra is the Vasa. Vasava is Indra. So among all the celestial gods, I am Vasava. That's I am the Indra. Indriyanam Manaschasmi. Among all our senses, sense organs, I am the mind. Indriyanam Manaschasmi. So very interesting. So there in our scriptures they say there are total 11 sense organs. What are they? The 5 organs of perception. What are these 5 organs of perception? 2 eyes. These eyes are the 1. 2 ears. The second, nose. The third, taste. The tongue, the taste, is the 4th. And the skin, the touch. These are the 5 perceptions. Our entire world consists of these 5 perceptions. So these organs of perceptions are 5. Organs of action, they are also 5. What are they? The hands, the feet, and then vak, this organ of speech, 3rd, and then organ of evacuation and organ of procreation. So these are the spayu and upastha. So these 5 organs of action. And all these 5 organs of action and the 5 organs of perception, these are called Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. Jnanendriya means organs of perception, Karmendriya organs of action. They all are coordinated by the mind. So mind is the chief. So all the perceptions are at last, is perceived by the mind. And not only that it's perceived there and it's processed there. Because all the perceptions are piecemeal perceptions. They are all processed. From that you get a particular knowledge. Based on that knowledge you act. For everything, mind becomes the coordinator. With the organs of perceptions, whatever I am perceiving, that's the knowledge is generated in the mind. As per that knowledge, it is finding expression as some action. So in our science, they call it stimuli response. Stimuli is being perceived through the organs of perceptions, and response is through the organs of action. And everything is coordinated by the mind, which is the 11th organ. So now it's very obvious that of all these indriyas, of all these sense organs, which is the chief? The mind. Without the mind, all the organs will be simply fall apart. So among all the indriyas, among all the sense organs, I am the mind. Bhutanam asmi chetana. Among all the living beings, I am the consciousness. So whenever I am looking at any being, what's that? It as if constitutes of two things. One, the physical body, and another is the consciousness. Without the consciousness, it is just dead matter, nothing else. Just the way you take the hard disk of a computer, with which we are in the present doing so many things. The world of virtual reality is being created from that hard disk. But unless electricity passes through it, it is just as good as a dead log wood. It serves no purpose. The moment it is connected with the bias voltage, it gets as if activated. Similarly, all the beings, without the touch of the consciousness, is just inert matter. So the consciousness, this is the thing which makes the living beings as something capable of having this response, stimuli and response. What's the difference between a stone and a living being? Swami Vivekananda in one of his lectures gave a very nice example. Just suppose a locomotive. In those days the train have already started. Swami Vivekananda also traveled by train. So he's giving the example of this train. The locomotive is running on the rails. Such a huge manifestation of power. And a small ant is just crawling on the rails. And it senses that some vibration, that rails from a distance. And so it somehow senses that something is going to crush it if it continues. So it simply goes down the rail and the train passes. And Swamiji is poetical in the lecture saying this locomotive is something inanimate. It doesn't have the power to move even a slightest bit out of the track. As it has been designed, as it has been devised, with all its power, it has to move on the track. The small insect, based on the stimuli it receives, it has the power to respond. What? Simply it moves out of the track and saves its life. So what allows it to it's this consciousness which enables that stimuli response conditioning. That consciousness, even in a small bacteria, if you give food, it will be drawn towards it. If you give poison, it will move away from it. No inanimate objects can do that. So this wonderful capacity to respond to the stimuli, which speaks of that consciousness, and that as that consciousness, I am there in each and every being. That it is because of this consciousness, the sense of identity that even from a small bacteria to the human, we all have. It is because of that consciousness. So that's Chetana. I am among all the bhutas, I am that consciousness, I am the Chetana. And then in the 23rd verse, what it is saying, again this resort to the reference to some Puranas will come. Rudranang Shankaras Chasmi Vittesho Yaksha Raksasam Vasunam Pavakas Chasmi Meru Shikharinam Aham. So among the Rudras, now what are the Rudras? We will come to the discussion. Among the Rudras, I am the Lord Shiva, the Shankara, Shiva. Among all the Rudras. Vittesho Yaksha Raksasam. Among all the Yakshas, I am the one who is the king of wealth, that is the Kubera. Vittesha Yaksha Rakshasam. Among all the Yakshas, among all the Rakshasas, I am the one who is the wealthiest, the Kubera. That's is spoken of here as Vittesho Yaksha Rakshasam. And Vasunang Pavakas Chasmi. So this, I am the Agni amongst the Vasus. The Vasunam Pavaka. Pavaka is the fire. I am the Agni among all the Vasus, and Meru Shikharinamaham. Among all the mountains, I am the Mount Meru. So these have all some mythological references. Now let us just go to those mythological references. The Rudras. So there in the scriptures they speak of 11 forms of Lord Shiva. They have been here also. They have been named differently in different places. Rudra. The word Rudra is also very interesting. Rudra. It came from Rodana, to cry. See, this Lord Shiva is considered to be the one who is compassionate. He's compassionate. He's full of compassion. So when he saw the creation of Brahma, that's what is mentioned in our scriptures, he felt it is extremely imperfect. Because why? For any creature to thrive, to sustain, to live, it has to feed on some other creature. And there again, there is disease, there is death, full of sorrow. And this made Shiva cry. So from this Rodana, this is what Rudra came. There's a nice story there that Shiva went to Brahma and said, what he said? That your creation is imperfect. It was something which, from this wailing heart, this word came. But Shiva felt as if Brahma was indifferent to his words. He was looking at his creation as if, that's what Shiva felt. Being totally was obsessive by his own creation, he was not giving any importance to his words. Not only that, he felt as a mark of his audacity. When he was speaking, there were 4 heads, another 5th head popped up. And Shiva was extremely angry. He said, there is so much of suffering and you are so much obsessed by your creation, and that also you are not giving any importance to my words, and as if to show your indifference, the 5th head has popped up, and he, out of anger, torn off this 5th head which just popped up. And Brahma cried in pain and said, what are you doing? And Shiva said, you are not giving any importance to my words, that your creation is not perfect, it is full of imperfection, and because of my tremendous anguish, that's the Rudra, means the one who is crying, or because of that anguish, I'm just complaining it to you, and you are so much obsessed, you are not giving importance. And then what Brahma says is very important. Now, why Brahma was actually, Shiva thought that Brahma is not giving any importance to him. These Purana stories are very interesting. It has some wonderful meaning that Brahma is called Animesha. Animesha means that you will find our eyes are constantly, our winking is constantly, that eyelids will be constantly winking. But Animesha means whose eyes never winks. His eyes never wink. So why Brahma is called Animesha? Very interesting. They say unless the moment there is no witness behind this creation, the creation collapses. Very interesting. Even in the quantum science, these wonderful discoveries are there. They say that to find out that what's actually the subatomic particles are, is it a matter or is it just a form of energy? Till now, science doesn't know. Actually, science haven't found out anything called matter. There is nothing. That matter is an illusion is a limitation of our senses, which gives us a feeling of hard, solid matter. So suppose this table, I think it's a hard, solid matter. So at last, even with our preliminary science, what it will say, it is made of atoms. Let me take one atom. There is the electrons, the protons. Let me take one electron. So these are the basics. According to us, this hard, solid table must be made of some matter. So that this electron must be a matter. So to find out the nature of the electrons with the help of an electron gun. This is called double slit experiment. It's a very famous experiment. It will be this with the help of this electron gun. They will spray electrons on a screen which has a small slit, a window, small window. So the electrons can pass through that. And where it will go, there's another screen behind that. So through these windows they are entering, and they will go and just fall on the second screen. Now, very interesting. Suppose you throw in a house, you throw a ball through one of the children sometimes will be playing. In India, it happens. You know that they have no place to play. In the street they are playing, and some house, the window is open, and someone strikes the ball. It just flies through the window, and on the opposite wall it will go and just will make a mark, isn't it? So if it is a solid, it will make a mark. Now instead of ball, if suppose in the time of Holi, someone with a bucket is throwing water, then will it make a spot? No, it will splash, isn't it? It will splash. So even in basic science, there is the idea that if it is a wave, then it will splash off. That will be some ripples we will find. And if it is a solid thing, there will be just one mark. So when through that one split the electron was thrown, they find a spot in the second screen. So they came to the conclusion it must be matter. They thought to continue the experiment. Let's have two slits instead of one slit. Now there should be two marks, two spots. Now they find very interesting thing. Instead of two spots, they find this light and dark fringes. What happens when two waves meet, intercept? So whenever the crest of two waves meet, there will be a very, what you say, that will resonate, there will be extreme intense light, and where the crest of one wave meets with the ebb of one wave, then it will neutralize, so that will be dark. So they find this light and dark fringes, which speaks electron is a form of energy. Now they are very puzzled that what actually it is. If it is one window is open, it is appearing as matter. If two windows are open, it is appearing as an energy. So they were very puzzled. They thought, okay, let us conduct the same experiment with the two windows open, but this time let us keep one observer. One camera was kept on the first screen to see what's going on the second screen. The moment they put the camera and they are observing, they find an interesting thing. Instead of that splash, that's light and dark fringes, they find two spots. Means which gives the impression that electron is a matter. So this is the basic thing from which they say that the moment someone is observing, probability collapses into reality. That's all the changes. This energy, form of energy, appears to be matter. Then science, sometimes for a lay person to understand all these things becomes very difficult. So they give a very nice, funny example. That example is in a classroom. The teacher is not there. So you know when the teacher is not there, what will the students? They are in chaos, all jumping. No one is sitting in their proper place. They're all moving around. And the principal from his office hears the noise. That something is going on. A lot of noise, chaos in the classroom. So he comes down the corridor, and by the time he comes and stands in front of the door of the classroom, he finds all are quiet. Seeing the headmaster, all have sat in their proper places. So the probability, the chaos, has collapsed into reality the moment there is an observer. The principle is there. So very nice example. So now we will understand why Brahma was not listening, was not even giving attention to Shiva. Because one moment he closes his eyes, the creation is no more there. So Brahma is the creator, you will find. Now we are saying these stories are very interesting. Brahma is the creator. So to sustain the creation, he has to keep his eyes open. Now Shiva, the Rudra, he is full of compassion. He asks. Now Brahma, out of pain, when his head was uprooted, one of the heads, he said, what are you doing? And then when Shiva complains, now Brahma with his eyes open replies, see, there is no problem with the creation. The creation is as it is. The suffering is the way you look at it. It's your reaction, the way you look at it. And this made Shiva to think. And then he went to meditate. That what Brahma says, let me try to realize, very interesting. And we say that in our tradition, we say that our Swami Vivekananda is like Shiva, full of power. And you will find really that he also in the gospel in one place very nicely is saying, and it is complaining to Sri Ramakrishna, what he's saying? The scheme of the universe is devilish. I would have created a better world. That's what he's saying. Just like Shiva, that full of compassion. So now let's go to that story. Now, this Shiva thinks, what Shiva thinks, let me sit, and if all the suffering comes from reaction, that speaks of controlling the mind. And he goes into deep meditation, and in the depth of his meditation, he finds at last the creation is actually the projection of the mind. The moment the mind stops, the creation is not there. So entire creation vanishes. Now we with the Shiva, these are the chants which are very common. Hara, Hara, Vyom, Vyom, we say. Hara actually means cessation. To cease means Hara. Hara means to cease. Hara means in our Sanskrit literature you will find to steal is to Haran. Haran, the word Haran means to take away. So entire creation has been taken away, the mind is not there. So that's why out of that, an ecstasy, when this mind has, has gone into that calmness where the entire creation has collapsed, he finds actually, it's all the projection of the mind. The moment the mind you have controlled the mind, the projection is no more there. The question of suffering is also no more there. Now in that state of ecstasy, he starts the shouting, Hara, Hara, Vyom, Vyom. That Vyom means vacuum. We also know, in Sanskrit also they call it space. That everything is space. The creation is not there. When the moment you have taken control over your mind, so everything is Vyoma. Where it has gone, it has ceased. Hara, it has been seized. It is all just space. So after this realization, then he feels, this is the thing, I have to give it to the world out of compassion. Out of compassion, I have to give it. Because his heart was full of compassion. This compassion made him cry, and now this compassion made him come down. They say from Himalayas, he's coming down. So when he's coming down from the Himalayas, his direction of his face will be what? South. Because Himalayas is in the north, you're coming down, so you will be facing south. So that's why he's called Dakshinamurti, that he's facing the south. Dakshinamurti speaks the all compassionate one. So this is the Purana story. Now let us relate to this Rudranam. Now all the aspects of Shiva at the beginning speaks of that Rudra, the tremendous suffering which comes by seeing the the suffering of the world. And with all these aspects, at last he comes as the benevolent Shankara, who is there to instruct the world. Actually, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we say that Patanjali is the one who is the author of the Yoga Sutras. But the one actually from whom it came is the Shankara, the Shiva. He is the Adi. That's why that nowadays we hear this word Adi Guru, this first from whom this came. That was again later composed in the form of these verses by Patanjali. So the Adi Guru is the Shiva. So he is the one who came with this knowledge of the yoga. So that's why among all the Rudras, all the aspects which speaks of the tremendous compassion which wells up from seeing the suffering, he comes back as the realization. And that realization is the Shankara, the form, the manifestation of the realization is the form of the Shankara. So among all the Rudras, I am the Shankara. Vittesho Yaksha Raksasam. So it's almost time. This is also a very interesting story that among all the Yakshas, I am the Kubera. Now this Kubera story is very interesting. And it has something to do with Shiva, the all-compassionate one. Very funny story. That now this Kubera actually was all the Yakshas as they like wealth. Now the wealth, when you are having too much obsession for wealth, obsession means always that it need not be a very righteous way of having it, even unrighteous. So Kubera originally was a thief. Before he became the wealthiest one. So once he was just traveling, one of these yakshas, he was just traveling, and he came near a Shiva temple. In the Shiva temple you will find the Shiva Lingam is there, and there will be some vessel with a small hole beneath it, and from that the water will be dropping on the head of the Shiva. That's how the constant consecration goes on. That the Shivas will be, that Sringara of Shiva goes on that way, constant. You will find in India, because of the tropical heat weather, that's how, as if to cool down Shiva, they are pouring that water drop by drop. Now when Kubera went to the Shiva temple, he saw that the vessel actually is made of gold. So it's that small hole. So from that gold vessel, the water is falling on the Shiva Linga. And as he was obsessed with wealth, he was so greedy. He was so lured to have that. So he tried to reach it out. So he couldn't reach. It was beyond his reach. It was quite high. So what to do? At last, finding no other way, he stood on Shiva. On the Shiva Linga, he stood on the Shiva Linga, and then he found he can get the reach. He can get the hold. So now, Shiva, instead of getting angry, he was extremely happy with this person. Well, everyone offers just one bilva leaf or one flower, and just he's such a big devotee, he has offered himself. He has offered himself to me, and that's how he was so. That's why Shiva is called Ashutosha. That's full of compassion. He's always ready to give boons. Ashutosha means the one who is very quickly happy. Tosha means to be happy. Ashu means immediately. So immediately, just the way you call RSAV, it comes, Shiva comes like that. So immediately he's there to bless you, and he made him the Lord of the wealth, the Kubera. And Lord, the Shiva Krishna is saying, so among all the yakshas, the wealthiest one, the Kubera, I am the one who is manifesting through him. So we'll continue with the remaining. So you will find these mythological stories were very interesting. They have a lot of the philosophical ideas. Apart from the story, there are a lot of philosophical ideas behind it. So we will take up the rest again in the next class. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.